Hello everyone, good day. I welcome you to class. This is Introduction to Programming Language using Python, and this is basically for electrical engineering students. So we are going to be looking at going through what we are going to be covering this semester. So I actually, personally, I thought this course is for basically computer engineering students. But when I heard this in your curriculum, I was like, what are you going to use it for? But until I found out that it's very, very essential for every student, actually in higher institutions, because Python is the bedrock of artificial intelligence. Once you understand Python, it will help you to understand how to do analysis, how to do web development, how to do signal processing, how to do machine learning, how to do deep learning. A lot of areas of applications we are going to be using it for, we are going to be doing here. So now we just going to first run through this manual so that we see what we are going to cover. Actually, I'm supposed to have made a kind of a table of contents here, but I just keep it while developing this manner. So if you look at it, this is Introduction to Python. We are going to look at the definitions. Then we are going to look at the history of Python. Of course, the person you are seeing here, that is Guido van Rossum. That is the person that actually created Python. He's still alive anyway, so he's not a old person like that. Of course, he's old, but he's still alive. So we are going to look at the version, the status of Python. We are going to look at the application of Python in electrical, in circuit analysis and simulations, signal processing, as what I said, the control system engineering, power system analysis, embedded system and IoT, machine learning in electrical engineering. We are going to look at it in automation and testing. Then we are going to look at the features of Python. We are just going through everything we are going to cover. Features of Python. We are going to look at application area of Python. So different application area of Python. We are going to look at scrolling down to see. We are going to look at advantages and disadvantages of Python. I made it in a tabular form with a little brief explanation so that it will be easy. So from there again, we are going to look at types of Python interpreter. Every programming language has its own interpreter because it's a high-level language, and computer don't understand high-level language, they understand machine language, which is the low-level language. So every programming language has an interpreter that interprets from the high-level language into low-level language that the machine understands. I'm going to look at the function of Python and interpreter. I hope you are following me. I'm going to look at the key component of Python interpreter. Then installation, setup, and running programs in Python. We are going to look at the minimum requirement. Now, the interesting thing about Python is that Python is online. You can run it online and you can run it offline. You can install different applications, different Python programming language to run it, and then we can easily go online and run it. So automatically, if it is online, so that means you might as well use your phone to actually run this programming language because it's a free web online running Python. We are going to look at that. So if you are using the system, basically installing the system, these are the requirements. The operating system requires minimum of Windows 7 as it applies to us. We use Windows majorly here. The processor speed, 1 GHz processor. The RAM, minimum of 512 RAM. The storage device 100 MB. The display requirement, which is talking about your screen resolution. Then the internet connection. Then the additional software requirement. Everything you want to run on Python has its own software requirement, which they actually call library. But this is what we are talking about. They are not the software requirement we are talking about. This is the code editors for what do you call it now? The code editor for Python. When you install Python, if you want to understand, enjoy it more, you have to install the code editor, which is the VS Code and the PyCharm. I have the two on my system. We are just going to look at them. We won't be using it. We are going to be using the web app version so that it won't require any installation. So then from there, we are going to look at Python variables and operators. You know, variables, we are talking about variables and operators. They are fundamental building blocks in Python programming. Every programming language has its own variables and operators. Of course, there are some that have same variables, same operators. What do you mean? What do I mean by same variables, same operators? I mean that some of the operators that works here works in other programming. So now, looking at this again, I hope we can continue. So now, looking at this, these are the variables we are talking about. We are not going to look at the variables. We are going to look at different, what do you mean, the explanation, the example of different variables we are talking about. So, my boss is calling me. So welcome back. What we are doing is introduction, and we are trying to cover everything that we are going to be doing. Sorry, I had a break. Somebody just called me. So now, looking at the variables and the operators, then we look at these operators. Those are the variables. These are the operators. These are the basic things you need to understand in using Python programming language. Any programming language. These are the basic things, and we need to do it. Now, basic syntax and style in Python. When you are talking about syntax, we are talking about how you can actually form your word. You understand? The indentation. If you look at this, this is what we mean by indentation. You understand? This, if 5 greater than 2, print, there is an indent here. That means the indent, you understand, when you say indent, you are talking about tab. You know the tab on your, or you know this space now, you use tab for it, but automatically the indent comes by itself. Then the variables, the comments, the case sensitive, the case statement, the multiple line in statements, so quotation marks and many other things like that. So I quickly want us to do this because it's taking a bit long. Python data types, array and control flow in Python. We are going to be looking at that. We are going to be looking at functions and modules in Python. We are going to be looking at functions and modules in Python. Then we are going to look at example of modules in Python. We are going to look at paradigms of Python. We are going to look at understanding classes and objects. That is in Python also. We are going to look at file handling and error management in Python. We are going to look at database in Python. Then common Python database library. We are going to look at basic examples of database connections. Then from there, we go to explanation of the examples. Then we look at different applications, applying Pythons to different areas of electrical engineering, circuit analysis, and many other things like that. All these things we are going to run them, and I'm going to see them. So our practical will follow as we do all these things. So be ready to write out your practical. So I will stop this one now. So we go to the second class after this. So thank you very much and take care. So please prepare, have mind ready. Be ready for the second class. Of course, I will still explain to you the web application we are going to be using for this class. Thank you and take care. And again, please, before I go, I want you to make sure that you put your comment, especially drop your matric number under this video so that I will be able to extract the attendance there. So go through it. Make sure you drop your matric number. I'm saying this at the tail end because I know some of you will know actually watch this thing to the tail end. So drop your matric number and then your name and your matric number. I'm going to extract the attendance there. So this is the class 1. So take care. Bye for now.